Hello everyone, we're back. I had a little break last week, managed to get away for a couple of days with the family just before lockdown kicked in again. I hope you're okay. I know it's difficult, the weather's cold and people are stuck in, but hold on. Hopefully the vaccines will be getting out there soon enough, and slowly things will improve. I just want to start with a couple of mazel tovs. Firstly to Ian and Martin Silverberg on the engagement of their son Joshua in Israel, and a special mazel tov to Shelley Abrams, who's celebrating a special birthday. So I wish you all a mazel tov. And we unfortunately lost a member this week. She was called Betty Gorski. Wasn't very well known in the community, it seems, but we, Baruch Hashem, managed to organize a minyan and afford her a proper kavura, a proper burial. So we wish anyone who did know her Chaim Aruchim, and hopefully would only have simchas in the community. You know, there's a story told of a parable told of a wealthy man who loses his money, and eventually he's literally on the streets, and he's going back in 100 years ago, and he's traipsing around trying to find barns and places where he can get a night's sleep. And eventually he climbs up someone's barn, and he's lying on the hay, and he thinks he's by himself, and he shouts, Ribono Shel Olam, dear God, said, how long is this going to last? And a voice from down below says, about 6 months. And he looks down and he sees some fellow beggar who'd also found his bed for the night on the straw. And he said, and then what? He says, and then you'll be used to it. So we know change creates psychological stress, creates different type of challenges. And we find in this week's Sedra that the Egyptians, Pharaoh understood this, because he began enslaving the Jewish people. As we read, the Jewish people increased in size, and they got worried that they would want to take over the land, so they were going to enslave them. And they made them work very hard. Of course, this is these next few Sedras, the beginning of the book of Shemot, is the crux of the Pesach story, the story of the Exodus. They made them work hard, building and doing various things, until Moshe Rabbeinu came along. Hashem met him we're told about the story of the burning bush, and Hashem convinced him to go and lead the people out of Egypt. But when he got there, he didn't make a very good start. He came to Pharaoh. He said, please let my people go. And Pharaoh said, who is this God that I should listen to him? And he said, you know what? The Jews, you're causing unrest. He says, I'm going to quash this. I'm going to make things worse. I'm going to make it harder. And then they'll know not to start complaining. So he said, instead of them receiving the bricks that they had to build, they were going to have to go and make their own bricks, and yet have to maintain the same quota, the same number of bricks built of production. So Rabbi Yosef Patsanovsky in his book Pardes Yosef, he asks, why did Pharaoh do that? Why didn't he just say, well, double the amount of bricks you have to produce? You had to do 1,000 a day, well, up it to 2,000 a day. Why do you say you have to go and get your own bricks? And he answers with this idea. He says, because Pharaoh knew that giving psychological trauma, taking away the raw bricks, making them go, oh, yeah, where are we going to get bricks from now, was much harder than saying, just do more bricks. Because having to recalibrate, having to refresh, having to work things out creates a level of psychological stress, which is much, much more difficult to deal with. And we also find that other commentators point out, we read again in the Seder, in the Haggadah, we read how they made them work all different things, b'chomer, bricks, uvenim, basada in the fields. They switched them around. They never let anyone settle too much in one job, because that creates a certain level of comfortability, and they didn't want them to even have that. So we see the power of psychological pain and trauma, and very much that's been a feature of the coronavirus. A lot going on, a lot of people struggling with mental health because the challenges are new challenges: loneliness, lockdowns, schooling of children out of schools, creating new facilities and new methods of teaching. Very much for myself, it's been the challenge running the community without a central base of a shul to use, without coming together in person, and trying to yet still feel that we can be Jewish and keep the Torah together. These are all new challenges and stressful challenges, and these are what we've had to overcome. But we should take some comfort in knowing that we're entitled to feel challenged, and it's not easy. And in a couple of weeks' time, Parashas Bo, we are going to be having some focus on mental health with the Jamie, the Jewish charity that focuses on mental health. So do look out for that, for the information, for the events that will be taking place, because we're recognizing these challenges of our, not just our physical health, our mental health, and how we have to look after ourselves, self-care, and look after each other. And please God, together we'll pull through and get to the other side. I wish you all a wonderful Shabbos. All the best.